Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to attraction and desire, most people are too focused on the spoken word. They wait for her to flirt, compliment, or admit her feelings. But what they often miss, and what matters far more, is what her body is saying without her even realizing it. You see, physical responses speak louder than words, especially in women, because women are biologically wired to feel before they speak, and often what they're feeling manifests silently, through movement, posture, breath, and energy. Let's take a moment and break this down with clarity. When a woman is aroused, interested, or emotionally stimulated, her body starts to respond in ways that are largely involuntary. These are not deliberate actions meant to attract you, they're signs of instinctual reaction. Her pupils dilate, her breathing gets shallow, her lips may part slightly, and there's a subtle rise in skin temperature. These are all signals, and when you're aware, you start to see the truth behind the mask she wears. Have you ever walked into a room and noticed a woman sit up straighter, fix her hair, or cross her legs in a way that subtly exposes more of her body? She's not doing that just to get comfortable. Her subconscious is preparing her, readying her for presence, attraction, possibility. The body is reacting to the energy you bring. That moment where her lips moisten, her voice shifts, or she starts to unconsciously sway, it's not because she's trying to seduce. It's because her nervous system is speaking. And here's the truth, most men miss this. They wait for validation through obvious gestures, a compliment, a laugh, and "I like you." But the women who are actually attracted to you may never say a word. Instead, her body becomes the loudest voice in the room. And if you don't speak that language, you'll miss out on what could have been yours. Let's talk about posture for a second. If she's drawn to you, her body will open up. Her chest will face toward you, her shoulders will square slightly, and her torso might lean in even when her feet are still. These are primal cues. The human body opens up to what it trusts and closes off to what it doesn't. So if she's relaxed around you, exposed, open, that's a green light. Then there's proximity. If a woman feels that magnetic pull, she'll break her own comfort bubble to be nearer to you. She might not even realize it, but her chair will shift closer, her feet will point in your direction, and her body will find ways to be within reach. No words, just pure instinct. Now, focus on her hands. Are they still or are they fidgeting? Is she playing with her necklace, rubbing her neck, adjusting her clothes, or touching her lips? These are high arousal zones, and when stimulated, they become busy. If her fingers become active in your presence, that's not just nervousness, that's energy displacement. Her body is heating up, her desire is growing, and the easiest outlet is motion. Her face will also betray her. Blushing cheeks, a slight smile that lingers, or a gaze that softens and lowers when you lock eyes, all of these are deeply physical responses. She might break eye contact, not because she's disinterested, but because the intensity of looking at you ignites something deeper. Her body is responding in ways she can't script or control. It's also worth mentioning that scent and hormones play a role in this. Women's pheromones become more active when they're aroused. You won't consciously notice it, but sometimes your body will feel a shift in the air. That change you feel in the energy of the room when she walks in. That's not coincidence, it's chemistry. And the more aware you are of your own energy, the easier it is to sense hers. The real secret isn't in becoming a player or memorizing pickup lines. It's in becoming a reader of body language, of tension, of atmosphere. You need to tune into her nonverbal expressions the same way a musician listens for the smallest notes in a song. The woman who's into you won't always tell you directly. But her skin will, her breath will, her presence will, because her physical reactions are not filtered, not calculated, they're raw, authentic, and revealing. So if you ever wonder whether she's feeling something for you, stop listening with your ears and start watching with your eyes. The truth is right in front of you, written all over her body. There's a certain shift that happens when a woman is genuinely drawn to a man, and it has nothing to do with what she says. It's not always in her words, her compliments, or even her flirtation. It's in her energy, that invisible, undeniable force that surrounds her when you walk into the room. You may not always be able to explain it, but you feel it, and so does she. When a woman is sexually or emotionally stimulated by your presence, her entire energy field begins to recalibrate. It's like her nervous system becomes hyper-aware, her focus narrows onto you. She becomes alert, not because she's scared, but because her instincts are activated. And whether she leans into it or tries to play it cool, that energy shift is almost always there. Most men walk right past it, but the ones who understand feminine energy, they notice. It starts with stillness, then moves into movement. A woman who was relaxed before you showed up may suddenly become a little more animated, a little more reactive. Her eyes flicker toward you, Her lips twitch into a half smile. She may start adjusting her posture, recrossing her legs, or fidgeting with something nearby. These are not just random habits. They are her body adjusting to the shift in emotional current. She may speak faster or slower. She may suddenly become more talkative, even if what she's saying feels slightly disconnected. That's because her mind is trying to keep up with the physiological wave of interest that just hit her. She's thinking a mile a minute, not because of what you said, but because of how you make her feel without saying anything. Her tone changes, her cadence becomes more fluid or more nervous depending on her personality. But the underlying message is always the same. Something about you just shifted her internal state. Watch how she interacts with others before and after you arrive. If she was calm, neutral, even distracted, and suddenly becomes brighter, more alive, more dialed, and that's your clue. You didn't have to say a word. Your presence alone altered her mood, and that's power most men don't recognize because they're too busy trying to impress. But the man who knows his energy, who owns his space without forcing himself into hers, is the one who sets that transformation into motion effortlessly. In some cases, a woman's energy doesn't just brighten, it becomes charged with tension. She might become quieter, more reserved, maybe even clumsy. Her words stumble, her eyes dart, and she may try to avoid too much attention. But that silence isn't disinterest, it's intensity. It's the quiet hum of chemistry running through her body, and she doesn't know how to contain it. Her stillness becomes a mask for something much deeper. She's feeling you and she's trying not to show it. Energy never lies, even if she's in a relationship, even if she's surrounded by friends, even if she's trying to hide it. You'll still feel the way her attention hovers over you like static. There's a subtle magnetism in the air, one that pulls her toward you even if she tries to resist. Her body will betray her. Her energy will betray her. Because attraction isn't always a choice, sometimes it's a response. Now understand this: not all energy shifts mean arousal. Some mean admiration, some mean deep emotional resonance, some mean curiosity. But all of them start from the same core: you matter in that moment. You shifted the dynamic just by existing in the same space as her. You altered her mental rhythm, her emotional tone, her physiological baseline. That's how women operate. They're tuned into the frequencies most men ignore, and this is why presence matters more than performance. When your energy is grounded, calm, confident, when you walk in with quiet dominance, with a strong sense of who you are, she feels it. And even if she doesn't fully understand why, her whole body starts responding. You don't have to touch her, you don't have to speak, she'll feel the difference, and that's the kind of attraction that isn't surface level, it's visceral. That energy shift is not something you can fake, and it's not something she can either. It's raw, it's organic, it's real. When her energy shifts around you, you've already done more than most men ever will. You've moved her without even laying a finger. Touch is one of the most intimate, instinctual ways a woman communicates desire, often without even realizing it. When a woman is drawn to a man, her body finds ways to close the physical gap between them. Her hands become her voice, her fingertips become messengers. The beauty of this language is that it's rarely loud or obvious. It's quiet, subtle, and deeply revealing. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss everything she's trying to say. You might be talking to her about something completely unrelated: music, work, a random story, and suddenly she reaches over to touch your arm. Maybe she laughs and lightly presses her hand on your chest. Maybe she brushes imaginary lint off your shoulder or playfully nudges you. None of these touches are random. They are carefully selected, even if subconsciously, as a way to bridge the distance between you and her. It's her silent way of saying, "I like being close to you," without actually using those words. What makes this so powerful is that touch bypasses logic. A woman may not have fully processed her feelings for you yet, but her body already knows. So while she's still trying to figure out if this is attraction or just a moment, her hands will give her away. She may linger during a handshake. She may allow her fingers to trail for a moment longer than necessary. These are not mistakes. These are instincts, and they speak louder than any carefully crafted text or flirty line ever could. And pay close attention to where she touches you. There's a difference between a polite pat on the back and a gentle touch on the wrist, neck, or thigh. Some areas of the male body are considered more personal, more charged. If she's touching those places casually, playfully, even accidentally, she's telling you something. She's signaling trust. She's signaling comfort. And more often than not, she's signaling desire. The repetition matters too. One touch might be accidental. Two is coincidence. But when she keeps finding reasons to make contact, tapping your arm, adjusting your collar, brushing something off your shirt, that's her body trying to stay connected to yours. It may seem small in the moment, but over time, those repeated touches create emotional intimacy. They build a bridge between her world and yours. Sometimes her touches are disguised as care. She'll fix your sleeve, she'll straighten your tie, she'll wipe something from your cheek. It's nurturing, sure, but it's also physical. And when a woman begins to express physical care, it's usually because she feels emotionally or sexually connected. Her touch becomes an extension of how she sees you, desirable, important, worthy of attention. Not every woman is overtly physical, but even the more reserved ones will find ways to initiate small touches when they are truly drawn to someone. It may be as subtle as letting her fingers brush yours when handing something over. It may be her standing close enough that your arms graze as you walk side by side. These moments, though easy to overlook, are deeply intentional. Her body is speaking in a dialect most men never learn to translate. And don't ignore how she responds when you touch her. If she leans in, if she melts a little, if her body language becomes more open and relaxed, that's permission. That's a green light. But if she stiffens, pulls away, or shifts her energy, that's her way of setting a boundary. The key is to observe, not push, because a woman's comfort with touch will always reflect how safe, excited, or desired she feels in your presence. Touch is also memory. A brief hand on the lower back as you guide her through a doorway, or the way your fingers briefly linger during a shared moment, these experiences etch themselves into her mind. Long after the words have faded, her body will remember how your touch made her feel. And if those feelings were warm, magnetic, and safe, she'll crave more of it consciously or not. Ultimately, when a woman uses touch as a silent language, she's offering a piece of herself without needing to justify it. No explanations, no declarations, just instinct, vulnerability, and chemistry. And the man who understands this, who reads her hands, her gestures, and her unspoken messages, becomes the man she wants to be touched by again and again. One of the most fascinating yet overlooked signs of attraction in women is unconscious mirroring. It's not loud, it's not performed. In fact, she doesn't even realize she's doing it, but her body, in its most honest state, begins to synchronize with yours. She starts to match your pace, your tone, your gestures, as if your presence is pulling her into a quiet rhythm only the two of you share. This is not coincidence. This is biology. And when a woman mirrors you, it's her unspoken way of saying, I feel connected to you. Mirroring is a deeply rooted behavior found in both animals and humans. It's how we build rapport, how we create trust, and how we silently show interest. In romantic contexts, it becomes even more powerful. A woman who's mirroring you isn't consciously trying to win your attention. Her nervous system is already aligned with yours. Her body is responding to your presence by subtly adjusting itself to be in harmony with you. And that level of connection runs deeper than words. Imagine you're sitting across from her, and you take a sip of your drink. Seconds later, she does the same. You shift your posture, leaning slightly forward, and without realizing it, she mirrors that movement. Maybe she begins using similar phrases, or her tone starts to reflect yours, calm, playful, or assertive. These aren't signs she's trying to be like you. They're signs she feels safe enough to match you. Women don't mirror men they're indifferent to. They mirror those they admire, trust, or feel chemistry with. Her subconscious is watching you closely, and when she starts to reflect your gestures, she's signaling a deeper alignment. It's not just flirtation, it's rapport. It's a biological form of empathy, connection, and resonance. Even in group settings, mirroring can be spotted. You may be talking to several people, but her body turns slightly in your direction. You laugh, and a moment later, she's laughing too, maybe a little louder than the rest. You cross your arms, and after a few seconds, she does the same. You tap your fingers on the table, and she starts to fidget with her glass. These parallel movements are often brushed off as coincidence, but in truth, they're physical evidence that her energy is trying to sync with yours. What's even more powerful is that mirroring doesn't stop at body language. It extends into speech patterns and emotional tone. She may start using similar vocabulary, adopting your expressions, or reacting to stories with the same kind of humor you do. If you speak in metaphors, she starts using them too. If you tend to speak slowly and deliberately, her voice begins to slow down in your presence. Her body and mind are adapting, not because she's trying to impress, but because she's attuned to your frequency. This synchronization is often involuntary, and that's what makes it so authentic. It can't be faked. It happens when a woman is emotionally present, emotionally available, and emotionally tuned in. Her mirroring becomes a mirror of interest, of intrigue, and of emotional closeness. The more she reflects you, the more she's unconsciously telling you, I feel what you feel. And here's the truth, the most attractive men are the ones who know how to lead energy. When you remain grounded, composed, confident, and intentional, a woman who's receptive to you will naturally start to fall into sync. You don't need to force it or demand her attention. You simply need to be in control of your own emotional rhythm, because that's the current she's aligning herself with. Pay attention to the timing. Mirroring doesn't happen immediately. It builds gradually as comfort deepens and interest grows. A woman might start off reserved or guarded, but as the connection strengthens, her walls begin to fall, her movements soften, her laughter becomes real, her gaze lingers longer, and without knowing it, she starts to become a reflection of you, not in identity, but in energy. This is what makes mirroring such a potent indicator of attraction. It bypasses logic, skips over language, and goes straight to instinct. Her body doesn't lie, and when it begins to move like yours, talk like yours, respond like yours, it's not mimicry. It's intimacy, it's chemistry. It's her subconscious leaning in before she ever gives herself permission to speak.